According to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, over 42,000 people died of a drug overdose here in the United States. Now, some of the most staggering numbers within this epidemic come from Western Pennsylvania specifically. Point Park PhD student David Maitan discusses how political figures categorize the size of this crisis.
When you look at someone on a personal level and then you look at it from a public policy level, they're different. So when you deem it like a health crisis, you're approaching it from a higher macro level, and which doesn't really address the individual.
It's not a one-person problem. It affects everybody. Because there's lying, there's cheating, there's stealing, there's deception, there's fear, there's anger. It conjures up every single emotion.
People, when talking about what we're doing and sharing about Eye of the Needle in conversation, how almost everyone has a connection to addiction and overdose in one way or another.
This is the last gift his mom gave him as a baby before she overdosed. So here he is, a recovering heroin addict, and this is the last piece of material that his mom gave him as a present.
And I think one of the patterns is people really, really want to know what to do, and there's not just an easy answer to that.
The recent surge in drug overdoses across the nation is connected with fentanyl being laced in heroin specifically. This graphic from Pennsylvania Coroner's Office shows that fentanyl has overtaken Western Pennsylvania completely.
And then the big epidemic now, with let alone the opioids, is the fentanyl. The heroin's being cut with fentanyl. Sometimes it's just straight fentanyl people are getting because it's 1,000 times stronger than the normal heroin and morphine.
But what I've discovered is that it's a physical change that the body goes through when it becomes addicted to opioids. I mean, these receptors, they seek this, and they continue to seek it.
About 3 years ago, I lost the very first person to a heroin overdose. I've lost 4. And I remember thinking, no one's talking about this. But I knew that Light of Life was seeing it on the front lines every single day. And then I lost somebody else close to me.
It's the fact that sometimes they have things on them that could rub off onto you. If it's the fentanyl, it only takes barely any sprinkles to cause an overdose. I mean, like dust sprinkles, that's what I'm talking about.
Kate Wadsworth of the Light of Life Rescue Mission believes that a conversation is what's needed in order to help absolve the drug overdose epidemic.
It's been a really great tool to raise the level of conversation about addiction, particularly opioid addiction, when so many people are touched by it, but it's still maybe unsure of whether or not it's okay to talk about.
If you see somebody who's overdosing, call 911, or if it's on campus here, you can call our police department, 412-392-3960. Let us know. As soon as you get a hold of us, we're dispatched, we're coming out.
It's a very scary time to be in a situation where death is imminent and people don't care about it. They're more worried about themselves. So hopefully this conversation continues and there is much more of a structured crackdown on making sure that this doesn't continue at the rate that it's continuing.
This church bell ringing symbolizes the number of drug overdose deaths in Allegheny County.
And what that moment does for the rest of that person's life and how it ricochets off of their family and off of their friends, and how it just turns life right upside down.